As far as the election, I like the comment here from our comrade Nick from RBN. Dr. Cornel West at 4% before the campaign even starts is incredible. Remember, third parties only need 5% for federal funding. And we see the poll here from political polls. If when they calculated Dr. West, Trump has a margin that's larger than 5%. But the point that I was heading towards earlier was that even the people that think Trump is the worst thing in the world, they have to realize what produced Trump. What produced Trump? It was these what Cornel West would call the milk toast neoliberals. I don't think there's a whole lot of about them that's milk toast. I think they're very open to their own fascism. We've seen that repeatedly in the last few years. But these milk toast Nazi funding strike breaking neoliberals, um, they're the ones that paved the way for a figure like Trump to become a possibility. So, what sort of solution to problem B is if problem B comes from problem A, how the hell is the solution to problem B going back to problem A? Doesn't that just put you back in the condition that reproduced the problem B that you so hate?
For sure. And it shows how arrogant Obama is, or I feel like this whenever he starts talking about Trump, because he never, ever, ever takes any of the blame on his own shoulders. And neither does Hillary for losing in 2016. She literally blames it on Russia, which is even more delusional and ridiculous. And she tried to feed news stories to the media to make it seem like Trump was a Russia puppet and they were rigging the elections against her. And which is funny because they're now trying to lock up Trump for questioning the election results, which Hillary did. But sorry, I'm on a little bit of a tangent now, but when Obama talks about Trump, he never takes any responsibility. It's just, he's cracking jokes, doing his charismatic thing that he always does. This guy's a piece of crap. This guy's a bully. This guy's a crook. This guy's a criminal. Well, you're the one who invaded Libya and Syria and bailed out the big banks after the most disastrous financial crisis the country had seen and the world had seen since the Great Depression. Right? You're the one who literally bailed out these criminals who went right back to doing the exact same thing. Um,
And
and
so did Biden with the Silicon Valley Bank, and they hid it under the rug.
yes, yes, and his own economic advisors were saying if we didn't do that, it would have been 2008. They tried to cover up that statement because they don't want people to see that we're on the precipice of another giant financial crisis. But Obama's handling of that crisis is largely what brought about Trump. And you could also point to some of the trade deals that were championed by Bill Clinton, but Obama was the one who was trying to push TPP through. Right? He was trying to push for all the same type of trade deal that NAFTA was, the same type of free trade deal that outsourced a ton of jobs in the Midwest and in the South. And when the jobs flowed out, the opioids flowed in. And then, this sort of faux anti-establishment outsider comes around and Trump and says, I'm going to bring your jobs back. No shit, a lot of people in middle America, said, okay, fine, I'll take a chance on this guy rather than another Clinton. But then Obama never takes any responsibility. It's just Trump is evil and everyone who voted for him is evil. Like, look in the mirror, buddy. How arrogant are you?
That's absolutely right, brother. And Biden is not going to win. And every move that the ruling class does makes me think that they want Trump to win. Even the liberal wing of, because how are you going to imprison him? His whole shtick has been, I'm the anti-swamp guy. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm against the deep state. I'm going to abolish the deep state. I'm anti-establishment. If you come after him in a political persecution like the one that they're doing, that's just feeding into his narrative. That's just strengthening Trump. And it makes it harder for us. Our job would be, hey, Trump's not actually anti-establishment. Look at all of the things he did when he was president. The real anti-establishment one would be someone like Cornel West. It makes it harder for us now because the Trump worker could just say, if he's not anti-establishment, why is the establishment incarcerating him and persecuting him? It feeds into Trump, and that's all that the liberal media has always done. Like, it's absurd persecutions of Trump have fed that narrative that he puts forward, that he's some form of anti-establishment, anti-deep state figure, when he's not. He's did some things that were unexpected and in some ways against the interests of empire, but was very inconsistent. He did other things that brought us to the precipice of a third world war, when he murdered Soleimani, for instance, or when he escalated the sanction regime against Venezuela, and the same thing with Cuba. Overthrew the Cuban thaw that was started by Obama, something positive that Obama did, mediated by Pope Francis, but wrought terror on the Cuban economy, and it was a combination of that and the pandemic, which created horrific conditions in Cuba. So um, they're just feeding into Trump's narrative and making him stronger when they do these sorts of things.
Couldn't agree more. And I tweeted that, and I was surprised at the amount of people who agreed and the lack of people who disagreed. People can kind of see it at this point. I think Trump derangement syndrome is really fading. And more Marxists are able to make a sober analysis of the Trump phenomenon, what it actually was.